Hello students, this video is in continuation with my previous video on general account of ginger manuals. And in this video, I am going to share with you general account of ginger manuals anacrogyny, also called as metagerany. Students, as I told you in my previous video that Archegonia in metagerany develop on the dorsal prostate thallus and apical cell is not involved in its development. The gametophytic body of metagerany is prostate, dorsiventral, dichotomously branched thallus, as you can see in Pallia. The dorsal surface of thallus is almost smooth except the median broad midrib. At the anterior end, each branch terminates in a median notch in which located the growing point. You can see this in Pallia calcinea. Here are some more images of Pallia epiphylla. You can see here sporophyte, and this is very thin prostate thallus which is dorsiventral as well as have prominent midrib. Further, Riccardia shows much variation in the form of gametophyte. It may be wholly prostate, example are Riccardia pinguis, Riccardia indica and others. Or it may be partially prostate and partially erect. Example are Riccardia bogotensis and Riccardia texteri. Further, the prostate thallus may be broad, thick and slightly branched. And example are Riccardia indica and Riccardia pinguis. It may be narrow and regularly or pinnately branched. Example are Riccardia multifida and Riccardia liveri. So students, you can see there is a wide variation in the thallus and it vary from prostate to erect and broad, thick, slightly branched to pinnately branched. In some cases, there is also division of labor in the gametophyte. The lateral wings are photosynthetic organ and the main axis is mechanical and conducting organ. Means photosynthesis is performed by the lateral wings while the conduction is performed by the main midrib. The ventral surface of the prostate thallus bears smooth walled rhizoids and mucilage hairs, while tuberculate rhizoids and ventral scales are absent as the characteristic feature of this order. The young rhizoid may contain chloroplast, old rhizoid lack them. So here is the structure of Riccardia indica. And you can see sporophyte, they originate from the margins of the thallus. Here is image of Riccardia pinguis. You can see that lack a prominent midrib. Here are example of some other thallus in case of metagerany. First one is symphogyna, second one is fossombonia, and third one is pelvicenia. So you can see the variation in case of gametophytic structure. Then some more example are metagenia, Blessia and Sivardiella. So students, you can see gametophytic structure in case of metagerany show a wide variation. Next is anatomy. In Pallia, the internal structure of the thallus is very simple and mainly consists of parenchymatous cell, as you can see in this image. The outline of the TS of the thallus show a many-layered thick midrib projecting below the merging gradually with the thin marginal region. Single layer of cell in thickness. The cell of the wings and the upper layer of the midrib contain abundant chloroplast, where the lower cell of the midrib contain few or no chloroplast, but starch grain are present. In all the cells of the thallus, in some species, yellow or brown thickened band run vertically and transversely in the thallus. So you can see, unlike the Marchantiales, thallus in case of metagerany and ginger manuals is very simple and generally consists of parenchymatous cells. Rhizoids are of simple type. You can see stick feature in these images. Species of Riccardia with wholly prostate gametophyte is devoid of midrib, have thalli which are wholly thicker along the midrib. There is no internal differentiation. All the cells contain chloroplast at some time. From the lower surface, smooth-walled intercellular rhizoids arises. A section through the posterior part of the older thalli of Fossombonia himalayensis show abundant mycorrhiza. So this is special and unique in case of member of Metaxarini, especially Fossombonia himalayensis. Students, you can see here thallus structure of Riccardia, and smooth wall rhizoid arises from the lower surface and it lack midrib. There is no internal differentiation. All the cell contain chloroplast. A section through the posterior part of the older thalli of Fossombonia himalayensis shows abundant mycorrhiza. You can see here mycorrhizal association with the bryophyte, and the example is Fossombonia himalayensis. According to Pandey et al., infection probably takes place through the rhizoids. The actively growing region of the thallus invariably do not show any fungal infection. So Fossombonia himalayensis is special here because it have mycorrhizal association, that is fungal hyphae penetrate through the rhizoid and infect the thallus. Next is reproduction. Students, you know very well, in case of bryophytes, asexual reproduction is lacking and vegetative reproduction is as prominent as the sexual reproduction. Here also, in member of Gingermaniales anacrogyni, they reproduce vegetatively as well as sexually. Vegetative reproduction in favorable condition takes place by fragmentation, adventitious branches, gamma and tuber. So you can see in first case, gamma released from the pores in case of Riccardia. So here are the gamma and they are released from the pores to disperse in the space and grow into next thalli of Riccardia. Second is cluster of gamma formed at the tip of metaxaria. So you can see here terminal cluster of gamma in case of metaxaria. Apical tubers are formed in other members of the Metaxarini. Next is sexual reproduction. Sexual reproduction is of oogamous type and the sex organs are Antheridia and Archegonia. Some species are monoecious where both male and female are present on the same thallus. As you can see the image of the Fossombonia where both Antheridium and Archegonium are present on the same thallus, while the other species may be dioecious. The Antheridia in thallosform may occur singly or scattered. They also can occur in rows as in case of Pallia or in groups as in case of Calicularia. They can occur on the dorsal surface of the thallus as well as on the lobes. Lobes are the branches or specialized short branches which arises ventrally in Metaxaria, but they arises as side branches in case of Riccardia pinguis. So you can see attachment of the Antheria varies in different members of the Metaxaria. They may occur scattered or they may occur in rows or in groups. Unlike Marcantiales, sexual branches are not specialized or modified, and the sex organs are thus never borne on the stalked receptacle, as in case of Marcantia, where they are present in Anthridiophore and Archegoniophore. In Pallia and Riccardia, the Antheridia occur in sunken pits formed by the upward growth of the adjacent vegetative tissue, as you can see in this image. The Antheridia are present on the sunken pit, thus provide efficient protection and allow violent discharge of the sperms. Antheridium is differentiated into globose sac-like body and short multicellular stalk, as you can see in this image. It is formed of the body and the stalk is multicellular. Upper side you will see ostule is there, that is opening for the discharge of the sperms. The wall of the antheridial body is one cell thick and encloses androcyte mother cell which forms sperms. The sperms are biflagellate and they are larger in size with more coils. So you can see they are larger in size and have more coils. Next is Archegonia. They originate near the growing point at the base of the young leaves, as you can see in this image. They are present at the growing point and at the base of young leaves. The Archegonia have distinct stalk. The Archegonia has a neck consisting of 5 vertical rows of neck cell and a venter slightly broader than neck. Here you can see they have 5 vertical rows of the cell and venter cell is larger as compared to other cells. Archegonial groups in some of the thallus metaxarenae is generally surrounded by an envelope known as involucre or pericytum, formed as a result of upward growth of the adjacent thallus tissue. So you can see outer wall is involucre or pericytum which encloses the archegonia. The archegonia in the thallus metaxarenae occurs singly, as in case of Riccardia, or in groups in case of Pelvicenia on the upper surface of the thallus or its lobes, but never on the stalked receptacle. So they may present on the thallus or on the lobes, but they never present on the stalked receptacle. They originate behind the apical cell from the segment derived from the later, but the apical cell never itself develop into archegonium. That's why the metaxarenae is anacrogynous, means apical cell is not involved in formation of the archegonium. In a leafy form, Fossombonia, they occur in small groups laterally on the central axis. Students, here you can see in case of Riccardia, they are present on the lobes on the margins of the thallus. So here is the archegonial branch in the Riccardia sinuata. While here you can see male branch in the Riccardia paloides, where the antheridium are present on the lobes or on the margins. Next is fertilization. Accepting the egg, the axial row of the cell in mature archegonium disintegrate. A passage is created leading to egg in the venter. The sperms are liberated from the antheridium. They swim to archegonia and enter the open archegonial neck and finally reaches to the egg. One of them, probably the first to reach there, loses its flagella and penetrates the egg and fuses with it. The fertilized egg secretes a wall around it and is now called the zygote or oospore. So students, you know very well the act of fertilization, and you know very well in case of bryophytes, water is essential for fertilization. That's why we have flagellate sperms here. They reach to the egg through the pathway that is found by the disintegration of the neck canal cells. And after reaching to the egg, sperm fuses with the egg and form diploid zygote. Next is sporophyte. You know very well the zygote is diploid cell and it divide and redivide to form the sporophyte, which is diploid in nature. The sporophyte in the metaxarenae is differentiated into foot, setae and capsule like in Marchantiales. The foot is the absorbing and anchoring swollen vase burrowing deep in the gametophyte tissue. It absorbs nutrients from the gametophyte. The setae is long stalk like transparent and fragile. The dark mature capsule is variable in form. It is globose in Pallia, as you can see in the image, and Fossombonia, but ovoid cylindrical in Blasius and Riccardia. So students, you can see here different sporophyte of the member in metaxarenae. First you can see Pallia, which is globose. Here is the internal structure of the sporophyte. The capsule wall is 2 to more layer of thick cells. The cells of the capsule wall develop annular or rod-like thickening on the walls for the dispersal of the spores. The sporogenous tissues within the capsule wall form spore mother cell and sterile cell. There is no columella. The spore mother cell usually become four-lobed prior to sporogenesis. So students, you can see here capsule wall is there and inside spore mother cell undergo meiosis to form haploid spores and elaters. So you can see, except spores and elaters, rest of the structure of the sporophyte are diploid. So this is the globose sporophyte of Fossombonia. Here is the sporophyte of the Ricardia. It is oblong and again it has elaters, jacket spores are there. The sterile cell get metamorphized into elaters. In some genera, a tuft of fixed elaters occur at the base of the capsule, as you can see in Pallia, or in the apex, as you can see in case of Ricardia. Here is the tuft of the elaters and it is called elatrophores. In addition to the free structure diversity and reproduction, deuteromycetes elaters which occur intermixed with the spores. Mature capsules split by 4 valves resulting to the base, but in Cryptothallus the valves fail to separate distally. In Pallia, the tuft of fixed elaters, usually called elatrophores, stand at the base of the dicid capsule, whereas in Ricardia, the fixed elaters remain attached to the tip of the each valve and stand nearly erect. So students, it's very simple and clear that elaters, they help in the dispersal of the spores. So in some members they are present at the base, while in others they are present at the erect position on the sporophyte, but in either case they help in the dispersal of the spores. Sometimes they also occur intermixed with the spores, but ultimately they help in the dispersal of the spores. The dispersed spores then find suitable place to growth and development, and they will form new thallus and will complete the cycle. So students, that's all about the general account of Lazzarini. I hope you understood this topic. Thank you for listening.